Robinhood lets AI agents trade stocks and spend. Third-party agents now hold the keys to retail order flow, and the first ones to clear will route everything through the lowest latency broker. The MCP integration turns every spending limit into a live parameter an agent can optimize against market data. Banks without equivalent hooks lose the next layer of automated volume. Expect the first wave of agent-driven credit lines to surface within 9 months, forcing legacy platforms to either expose their own protocols or cede the entire mid-tier book. Snowflake signs $6 billion AWS deal. Shares surge sharply. Choosing Graviton over standard instances cuts Snowflake's own compute spend by roughly a third once the migration finishes. That margin lift is already baked into the raised outlook, yet it also locks the company deeper into AWS tooling that smaller rivals cannot match at scale. Watch the next 3 enterprise RFPs. Any vendor still quoting x86 pricing will either discount aggressively or lose the deal to the new Graviton-backed rates. Cognition raises over $1 billion at $26 billion valuation for Devon. Every Series C at this multiple now sets the benchmark for what an autonomous coding team must deliver inside 12 months. Devon's backers are pricing in replacement of entire junior engineering benches at scale. The pressure hits GitHub and JetBrains first, since their plug-in ecosystems become the obvious integration layer for any new agent. That leaves every incumbent tool vendor with one choice: embed similar agent loops before their renewal cycle, or watch ARR migrate to the new default environment. Base 10 eyes $1 billion raise at $11 billion valuation. Enterprise model serving margins compress the moment inference moves behind an SLA with uptime guarantees. Base 10's raise assumes it can capture that layer before the largest customers finish their own hardware builds. The first sign will be when 2 large fintechs announce internal clusters that match Base 10's claimed latency at half the cost. Any delay lets the next batch of on-prem optimizations land first, and the valuation math flips from growth to replacement cost inside 18 months. Mistral launches Vibe remote coding agents. Long-running sessions change the economics of remote dev work. A single agent can iterate through an entire feature branch overnight without burning local GPU cycles. The work mode toggle keeps context across days, not hours. Expect GitHub to cut Copilot prices within 6 months or lose the async segment to teams that value handoff over chat. Smaller consultancies gain an edge because they no longer need round-the-clock staff on every project. Margin pressure on local tools appears in renewal rates. Anthropic releases Claude Opus 4.8 with Agentic tools. Sub-agent swarms are reliable enough now for production workflows that run without constant human oversight on every step. Improved honesty at the same price point shifts the cost of error correction away from customers and onto the model provider. OpenAI must now ship comparable swarm tooling by year-end or watch its coding benchmarks lose relevance in large deployments. The margin pressure on API calls hits when swarm volume scales under enterprise SLAs. KPMG deploys Claude to 276,000 employees globally. Junior consultants now handle tasks that used to require manager review within the first week of onboarding. Tax and private equity workflows see the fastest lift because those practices already run on templated data flows. Deloitte has to match the deployment scale inside 18 months or risk losing bids where clients demand AI-native delivery teams. Rate cards for entry-level work will face compression once the managed agents prove stable in client audits. OpenAI deploy $4 billion consulting subsidiary advances. Forward-deployed engineers change the sales cycle from model access to full outcome guarantees. Accenture must either acquire comparable AI deployment talent inside 12 months or accept lower margins on projects that now require model fine-tuning on site. The trajectory favors labs that control both the model and the integration layer over pure strategy firms. Mid-tier integrators without any lab backing will see their pipeline stall within the next 2 quarters as clients shift spend. Meta rolls out paid chatbot subscriptions. Every new paid user still adds to the same compute bill that free accounts already strain. Meta's move locks higher usage behind paywalls while free tiers degrade in speed. This forces OpenAI to either match the price point or pivot to enterprise-only contracts before mid-market customers defect. The buried data licensing clauses will decide whether smaller agents can train on paid conversations or get locked out by Q3 next year, cutting off access to conversation data entirely. Snowflake Cortex adds Gemini 3.5 Flash multimodal. Latency improvements matter less than who absorbs the variable cost when query volume spikes. Agent-driven video queries inside existing dashboards now hit production SLAs without custom pipelines. The real pressure lands on Snowflake's compute margins once Gemini's token pricing layers on top of every warehouse query. This forces Databricks to bundle their own multimodal models at a flat rate or watch customers migrate entire workflows by early next year without losing margin share on the base platform. Cerebra's eyed as top 2026 AI chip IPO candidate. Performance claims on wafer-scale chips still hinge on sustained yields that few foundries have proven at commercial volumes. An IPO next year would value Cerebra's against that risk, not just benchmark numbers. Investors will price in the OpenAI partnership only after the first 10,000 wafer run clears defect rates below 2%. This forces NVIDIA to accelerate its own custom silicon roadmap or lose the account entirely once inference clusters scale beyond current supply by the end of next year. Canada issues privacy ruling on ChatGPT training data. Deletion orders on scraped datasets create a precedent that hits every frontier lab using public web crawls, including those still in stealth. OpenAI must now either license equivalent data at much higher cost or restrict model updates for Canadian users entirely. Expect the same regulators to demand audit logs on every training token within 18 months or face daily fines, raising compliance overhead across the industry as smaller labs without dedicated legal teams exit first, when enforcement begins next quarter.